They've got all sorts of injury problems. Arne Slot has been talking about that injury blow. Liverpool defender Conor Bradley's going to miss the rest of the season with a significant knee injury sustained in Thursday's goalless draw at Arsenal. They play Barnsley in the FA Cup later today. What do Liverpool do, Stephen, you think, in this window now? Again, it's a massively salvageable season in terms of where they are. Currently fourth in the Champions League spot, 35 points, still in the FA Cup. Still very much in with a chance in the Champions League as well. Do they need cover? Should they go for it?
Yeah, I think they should. Like defensive cover, I think they've needed it all season. You know, I don't want to keep bringing up players that are in contracted clubs, but Guehi, you know, you think if you're City or you're Liverpool, getting him in through the door now would be absolutely phenomenal to boost what you need. Like he can play, you know, all different positions in the back four, but you're bringing in someone that's you know, so consistent in his performance. Someone like that to be able to get through would be amazing for Liverpool, especially with the injuries they've had. Listen, Bradley's taken. When he went down straight away, you knew it was painful and it was sore, and you kind of like you just expected him to kick on the season with Trent going because he's a wonderful talent, but that's a huge blow for them. But
yeah, and in that position, obviously, it leaves just Jeremy Frimpong, who actually has been playing in sort of Salah's position. He's been playing far more advanced under Slot, hasn't he? He's had his own injury problems as well this season. Joe Gomez, we know, struggles to stay fit at the best of times, and neither really can be considered a genuine right back. Calvin Ramsey is probably the only fit, recognised right back that they've got, and he's yet to play a Premier League game for Liverpool. That spot itself is a worry.
It is absolutely, it's a worry, and it's funny because you talk about the decline of the side. You know, Trent missing that team. You know, you realise how important a key player. Well, people talk about defensive attributes, but like. You're missing one of the best right backs in the world, and then you're trying to replace him with Conor Bradley, which is a big mantle to take up, and now he's got injured. So I think for Liverpool that would be an interesting year. They try and recruit in. They were looking in the forward areas, which is strange considering the firepower they brought in, but you feel defensively, I always felt defensively was someone they had to try and recruit.
And that's an area actually where Mo Salah might be saying, well, hold on, this is why my form has perhaps not produced the numbers that it has because of that connection that he had with Trent. And there'll be Liverpool fans saying, look, Dominic Szoboszlai can play there, Curtis Jones can play there, but that's not ideal. You want those guys in their main position.
You want Szoboszlai back in the middle. He's arguably been one of Liverpool's best performers, and whether that be right back or midfield, but you want them being that creative spark in the middle of the park. He drives them forward, he gets goals. You know, I think he's been key for them when they've played well. So I think taking him out of that midfield position, listen, it's happy to have cover. You're nice to have someone that can do that for you, but you want the midfield that you have, your strongest midfield, and I think he's in that.
Marc Guéhi, future still very much unclear as things stand. We've talked about him right from well before the transfer window even opened, and that is a face which says, "I hold all the cards," and he absolutely does. Yeah. But look, we could have chosen a nicer picture of Mark there if you're watching this morning.
Marc Guehi, you're getting a great person as well as a great player. You know, I watched the scenes post-match against Macclesfield Town, and he was talking to the fans. A lot of fans were angry. He does hold the cards, and again, I go back to it. I don't know what Palace get out of selling him really for around 25 million now, because they were fifth a few weeks ago. They're now, I think, around 12th. That's more than 25 million pounds. I think if the merit money they received, they obviously want to go far and they want to win the Conference League. Then that'll be hard without Marc Guehi.
But, you know, they will surely, Stephen, have the next one in mind because they've known that this has been coming. And obviously, you know, Maxence Lacroix is a hell of a player as well. He's one that in the summer potentially will be linked with big moves away. They've got Richards who can play there. They've got options. They've got to move away from Guehi. They know his future is not there. It's a matter of time.
Yeah, it is a matter of time. But I think if you're one of the top teams, if you're Liverpool or City, the 25 million, I don't think you approach them with that. I think you go more. I think you just go, you give what they need to get it done to make Palace feel like they're not being taken advantage of to some extent because he's such a talent and that they're getting a reward for it. But to get him out the door now, it's going to have to be more than that value, I think. I don't think they'd sell him for that. I think they'd only sell him for more. Even though his contract's up in the summer, I don't think they'd let him go for 25 million.
But here's the scenario. Aggressive Manchester City come in and say, OK, look, even if it takes 20, 30, and then the player says, well, hold on, I could get half of that in my back pocket as a signing on fee. And they say, well, we'll build that one in as well.
Yeah.
That's still probably a bargain for Manchester City, bearing in mind if he had a 5-year deal still to run, he's worth 80, 90 million quid?
Yeah, 100. You look at Van Dijk went for 75. That was how many years ago? Marc Guéhi is English international, you know, revered throughout the league. All the top teams want him, and all the top teams feel like he's the player that can actually set them apart and push them for the title. So, you know, it's a huge deal to try and get him through the door. So I think massively they have to go in for it.
Yeah. Good work, Stephen. Thank you very much.
So Liverpool defender Conor Bradley will miss the rest of the season after picking up a significant knee injury in Thursday's goalless draw with Arsenal. So do Liverpool need to make reinforcements in January? Bradley's injury occurred when he cleared the ball but landed awkwardly on his knee. The defender avoided any damage to his anterior cruciate ligament, but he will have surgery on bone and ligament damage in the coming days. Right, Tim, how significant is that injury? They've got Bradley, they've got Frimpong as their out-and-out right-backs. Frimpong's fitness hasn't been great all season, and he's been playing sometimes right wing. So how big is that with Bradley out?
Huge. First of all, I hope you speedy recovery. Whenever you get injured where there's no other players around you, you know, it's always not good news. And it looks like his season's over. It's sad for the boy because I thought he was going in there, he was getting a rhythm, and he was playing some decent football. The problem with Liverpool now, you go and take someone in January, you got a short-term fix, but a long-term problem. You're not going to find someone unless he's going to improve your starting 11 to come into that football club. You know, they got a group of a lot of players. Frimpong doesn't want to play right back. I think he's going to have to play right back now. They're going to have to fill the space elsewhere. You know, Mo Salah will be back very soon when Egypt win the AFCON. I just think you wouldn't go into the market now. I really don't believe that. Szoboszlai's played there in the past. You don't really want to lose him from the midfield. I thought he was outstanding the other night against Arsenal. But huge blow for Conor, huge blow for Liverpool. But don't panic. I just think they will be able to patch it up.
What's it like as a manager when, yes, Bradley's injured, but he's not been sold? You know, he will be back in time.
Yeah.
Frimpong has cost quite a bit of money. Gomez is still there who can play there. And as we've seen Szoboszlai play it right back. We've seen Curtis Jones play it right back. Do you really want to waste the wrong word, but spend any of your budget on an area where you know if fully fit, you are actually well stocked?
No, you really don't. It's different if Liverpool were going for the Premier League again. They're not. There's probably very little chance they can win the Premier League again. Of course, they're still in the Champions League and they can go that. They play tonight against Barnsley in the FA Cup. There's an opportunity in that competition. But like I say, there's no need to panic. I think they got enough players to fill the gap. If they see Conor Bradley as a long-term solution at their right back, then why would you go to the market? Just wait for the boy. He will be back next season. He'll be back stronger with the experience of having dealt with a bad injury. No one wants that experience, but it helps certainly as a player. I wouldn't go into the market. I would just wait for him, and I would just use some versatile players to fill the gaps.
And they might have someone else from the academy as well. Right, Sky Sports are partnered with Finalysis to discover true fan opinion. To have your say on your club, download the Finalysis app. Scan the QR code here for more details. Let's speak to Liverpool fan Sarah Luca. Good morning, Sarah. It's been a season of struggles, I think that's fair to say. How much of a blow is this for you that Bradley's out?
Oh, it's a huge blow, and I just want to echo Tim's sentiment that, you know, I'm devastated for Conor. He's had such a bad run of injuries, and not only are we going to miss him, but so is Northern Ireland. You know, they're still fighting to get into the World Cup. And if they do, I hope he has a speedy but safe recovery and can maybe join them in some shape or form, even if it's just to be there with the team.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
But I also, although we agree on Henderson, Tim, our love for Henderson, I do think we need to go into the market. You know, we don't have a lot of defensive options at the moment, and especially, you know, we've had to cope with Konate having a bad season for most of it. Yes, he's picked up, thank God. But going for someone like Guehi, who could maybe play on the right alongside Van Dijk and Konate, would be amazing if we can actually force that to get over the line. I also like that we're being linked with Mickey van der Vaart from Tottenham. Again, someone who's in the Premier League, could fit in, could play straight away. I don't know how much we'd have to spend to get him away from Spurs right now.
I think
but
it'd be quite a lot to get Van de Ven. I think it would be, but I think your finances are okay, I suppose.
Yeah, I just think going the rest of the season, if we want to get Champions League, if we want to, do well in the Champions League, let's face it, we want to win it to try and salvage this season. I think going the rest of the season with being so light, I also don't like the idea of Frimpong having to play right back all of the time. I think him being a backup for Mo is brilliant, and he's shown some real pace down that wing and giving us some much needed width. And also putting Szoboszlai back there. I mean, it's not getting the best out of that player at all.
Yeah, I agree. If you bring someone to your club who's flexible and can play in various positions, the point I was making, you don't want to buy an out-and-out right back. Conor Bradley is going to be your right back for the future. If you fix that gap now, a short-term fix, you end up being a long-term problem. You'll be a player at your club who's very little game time in the following season. So I'm not sure that the astute men who are in charge of your signings will make that signing this January. I agree. If you can bring Marc Guehi in, he's another body. I'm not sure Marc Guehi will want to come in there and play right back, and tarnish himself very early. He won't be a right back. He won't perform to his best. And people will be saying to him, what a waste of money that is. He plays on the left side as a centre half. That's where he wants to play. So does Mickey van der Ven. So please, save some players for some other clubs, can you?
Tim, you might not know this, but Sarah before Christmas asked for Guehi, Wharton, Rodgers and Semenyo. Now she's throwing Van der Ven in. It's quite a very quality wish list, Sarah. But
you've got a full house.
She's shrugging her shoulders. Why not? Why not? We have, by the way, had a voice note from Alex on the Bradley injury. Here's what he's had to say. It is coming.
Absolutely gutted for Conor and Leone as well, gutted for both of them. But in regards to the transfer market, I think Liverpool should go into the market. There's clear gaps in the defence, but I don't think the board trusts Slot enough.
Ooh, what do you think of that, Sarah? I mean, I've not heard. I mean, in terms of bringing in some reinforcements, we hear that a lot, but not trusting Slot.
Yeah, so I hear this from a lot of Liverpool fans, and I think it's because of the hysteria over the summer and being linked with basically every top player, and now it being quite quiet. It has picked up a bit. We're starting to hear a lot about attackers, but not so much about defence. So I get that fan's point. I think there are, still a lot of fans, I'm not one of them, that want Slot out. They don't like his style of play and how we perform this season. But I do think Slot is the right manager, and he's been doing a hybrid, right, to stop the rot, and that's worked. And it was a really, really great performance against Arsenal. And I think we can build on that. I do think that it's right that we are looking at some attackers. And I also obviously want a defensive midfielder, which I think could maybe help with if Frimpong is in that right back. We have a really tough defensive midfielder like Wharton or Anderson, so Elliot Anderson. They could maybe then help when Frimpong goes forward rather than Szoboszlai having to drop back, etc. So I do think there's a deal to be done, or a couple of deals to be done, to make sure that we are fit for the rest of the season.
Do you think Frimpong's not the answer at right back?
No, only because he's really exciting going forward. Yes, he still needs to get those crosses connecting with our players.
Yeah.
There was too many of them during Arsenal that just didn't connect. But also, is Mo going to come back and fire on all cylinders? I hope so, because he's been doing it for Egypt. But there's still a lot of nervousness around Mo. Is there going to be a bombshell when he comes back? Like the earliest he could play for us is the 21st, which is our Champions League game against Marseille. Like, hopefully he comes back all guns blazing and going to prove everybody wrong.
I'm sure he will.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Sarah, thank you.
Thank you.